Hello everyone, and welcome to TowerDiveTV Tournament number 29. To everyone who's still already in the chat, and to everyone else who joined, hopefully we will have some really good games today. And it looks like we're going to be starting off with a pretty good one as well. But just introducing myself, I am Sakimans, and here with me I have the ferocious Azaraki.
Rawr.
And I believe that
There you go.
that adjective literally changes like every single time I say your name.
I think it does. I can't forget, or I did forget what it was a couple weeks ago. It was a good one though.
I
But anyway,
need to remember what it was.
getting into the to this game right now. In the meantime, let's take a look at the brackets for a sec. We have League 5 Titans returning, King Jululu. Also returning, we have Tiny Pudge. Dream Team is back. Ponytail is here. Team Keep Sports is here. The Buffet line is back. So we got quite a few good teams that show up to quite a few events as well. So it looks like this is going to be a fairly awesome bracket. We'll have to see how these games go. In the meantime, how are you doing, Zaki?
I am actually doing great today. This is actually going to be the last day that I actually have roommates. I'll miss my roommates definitely, but I'm going to be all alone. Sakiman's is going to be all alone.
I don't really want to think about what you'll end up doing there, but yeah. So what's been going on actually in the Magic the Gathering Pro Tour? I know you were into that quite a bit.
Well, yeah, I've been watching a little bit of it. I didn't have as much time, but I guess going in on the Magic Pro Tour, Sean Plott got a special invite. I don't know if anyone knows who Day 9 is, but
Yeah.
following him is funny, and he's really not. You can tell like he makes tons of mistakes. I don't know if
it's pretty good publicity as well. I love him. He's funny.
Oh yeah. That's the reason I think he got the special invite, because he can potentially bring fans to Magic that weren't there. You know?
Yeah.
Like it was a publicity stunt to special invite him, especially over all the other pro players who've been to pro tours in the past, you know. So, I mean, it's really entertaining to like be there. Like he was very fun to watch, but he messed up on a lot of he has non-StarCraft fan bases. Like everyone loves Day 9. Like
Yeah, that's true.
I grant you to find a person on the internet who's like, I hate Day 9, that's a reasonable person.
Yeah, I agree. I've seen him in quite a few places. He was actually on an episode of Tabletop, which is a pretty cool YouTube series where Will Wheaton hosts it, and he takes people to play a bunch of random tabletop games, and Day 9 was in the pilot episode, and he was hilarious. It was great to watch. Day 9's just got such an amazing personality.
Yeah, he definitely has a good attitude. Like he has one of the best attitudes in the industry. So, like he explained it really well. He's basically saying like, well, without like I gotta treat everyone nice because you know fans are wasting their time like out of their day to like you know watch me. Like that's really humbling, and I wouldn't be anywhere without you know fans. So, you know, pretty good mentality.
Yeah, he's got a lot of community interaction, and fear not, we will also retain the same amount of community interaction, no matter how big Tower Dive TV gets, because we love the viewers. So, almost ready to get into this game. Someone is going to have to go to the washroom. Some of the bans and picks that we might be looking at are fairly standard. I didn't really see too much of a meta shift since the last tournament we did, so we're just going to see a lot of high value, high priority junglers and stuff of that sort being banned out.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Maybe even some good supports. Those tend to be the two most targeted roles, along with top lane.
Thresh is still that big champion that you don't want in lane or in a team fight. He's got such an amazing kit behind him. So he's banned out quite a bit, and I can easily tell why. Other bans we see a lot, Hecarim just being that amazing jungler, tower diving all day, being so tanky near the end game as well. He's a great jungler, and we also have people like Jarvan, who's got great jungle mechanic, a lot of CC, as well as Cataclysm, which actually builds walls, which is something that only two other champions in the game, I believe, can do is actually build a physical, impassable wall. And he builds it in a ring, so you can't actually get out of it. It's a very, very nice team fight ability.
Yeah, very good for certain AoE comps, especially the bullet time comp that was kind of showing its face at the beginning of Season 3. I think it almost always tried to get Jarvan or a Moo Moo, stuff like that. And I don't know if either of these teams have been in the tournament before, so I'm not sure if we really will see any hate bans unless, they did quick research on them and say, oh, look, this is a support player. He's got like 100 games with Thresh. So we're not really going to see one of these players getting really, really banned out. Although they do have a member in Diamond. I mean, SSJ Vegito. And actually, that name does seem a little familiar, so he could
So
be...
does Diplox. I think both of these teams have played in one tournament. I think that it was the last tournament, or it might have been the tournament before, but I do recognize the names a bit. We haven't really streamed. I don't think we've streamed the teams that much. And the team on the blue team, the team one, is actually TXH Ruby, so they are returning as well. And I do recognize a lot of the names on the red team, so I think they're also returning. But we are getting into the picks and bans phase. We'll have to see which one of the champions they end up banning. I can definitely see stuff like Thresh, Hecarim, just general bans that really nobody wants to deal with due to their amazing team fight
There's the
potential.
Thresh ban.
And yeah, already seeing the Thresh, his pulls early game, mid game, and late game can really make a huge difference in the fight. Twisted Fate, one thing we forgot to talk about earlier in terms of bans and picks are the big global ultimates. Twisted Fate has a ton of global presence with his long-range teleport. Not exactly global, but it's still very, very long range. And we might also see a Shen ban coming out from the purple team if they want to continue banning these sort of global pressure champions. In the meantime, the blue team banned out Blitzcrank, and as you said, supports are also getting pretty heavily targeted with these bans. Certain champions like Thresh and Blitzcrank, who have amazing repositioning abilities, can really screw up a team fight position, and really just win you the earlier mid game.
Yeah, and we're seeing a bit of a trend here. Blue team banning out a lot of really heavy engagers. There you go. There's the last ban there. Malphite, again, another heavy engager, very frontline character right there. And purple team seems to be banning out a lot of global pressure here. I wouldn't be surprised if they took Nocturne as their last ban here, but we'll have to just see what they don't want to deal with. No Hecarim, and you even called out that ban as well, but he's just another strong engager, and that's just something people don't like. They don't like getting engaged on, unwillingly.
Ooh, the first pick for the blue team is actually going to be Nasus. It's an odd champion to first pick because he's not really that high priority champion. I think the blue team probably would have been better off if they were to go with a heavy initiate champion or someone with a lot of AoE abilities, such as Sona. Sona's Crescendo can follow up an initiation and stun, 4 or 5 members of a team at a time. So it's a really, really amazing ultimate. And even if she catches someone out, she can also use that to initiate a fight herself, stunning multiple people at a time. Not sure whether the Nasus first pick was really the best idea. Getting him off the board doesn't really seem like that much like it has that much value. Although he is a fairly strong champion, don't get me wrong, but they're just our better first picks.
And as we can see the bot lane's already locked in here. Purple team going for a Sona Twitch. It's going to have a lot of early kill potential, and especially at level 6, they're going to get it again, obviously, with that Sona ult. But Twitch has a lot of damage, very squishy, but has a lot of damage. And we're going to see a very, very aggressive bot lane for the blue team. Tristana having that high early burst damage, along with Leona, who is probably one of the burstiest supports I can think of off the top of my head, having that Zenith Blade to charge in and an extra stun to hold them in place. So that's going to be good, and we're going to see a very interesting bot lane match, both going for the late game. A little more so with purple team support, but both having very late game AD carries.
That's very true. Both of these have really heavy late game. Tristana, her late game comes from Draw a Bead, which basically gives her more auto attack range per level, which is an extremely amazing ability when it comes to late game, because you'll be able to sit at the very edge of a fight and keep hammering people with those auto attacks, and you'll be out of the range of most mages abilities. So that's going to be a very, very good way for her to position, as well as the rocket jump, and the fact that she can get a refresh on the rocket jump really helps out Tristana's positioning. Not only that, but she also has the rapid fire, which gives her a gigantic attack speed buff, something that really, really helps in the late game, and that's really why we see a lot of Tristana's build Blade of the Ruined King, because it synergizes so well with attack speed, doing percentage of their health damage. So I can definitely see Tristana getting a Blade of the Ruined King as a first or second core item.
I just noticed, and it's kind of awkward, there is a blue ribbon over Murder Fox, so apparently Murder Fox very helpful, and it looks like we're actually going to see both the brothers come out on the blue team here. That's going to be very, very powerful. Two really heavy frontline divers, both with health decaying ultimates that reduce or that make you lose health percentage based, and it's very good. And we're having a hover over a Zed here for the red team as the last pickup, but you know, I don't know if he's kind of rotating over some assassins here, maybe looking up for some more burst damage here for the early game.
Yeah, that's very true.
And literally, one thing I want to note here is that both teams have an invulnerability. You know, they have Lysandra with her Entomb ability, her ultimate, and they do have that Kayle, obviously having the divine intervention. So, you know, two invulnerability. So that's going to actually play a lot in these fights, depending on who they can get their invulnerability on, is going to matter. And the last the last lock-in was Vladimir. Just going to quickly touch on that.
It is Vladimir, just complementing the rest of Purple Team's heavy AoE comp, whereas the Blue Team, I think they're looking more towards a skirmishing sort of mobility comp, because they do have quite a bit of mobility on the parts of, well, three members of the team. We have Renekton, who can dash quite a bit. We have Murder Fox on Lysandra, who's got a reposition. Basically, she can throw out a skill shot, and if she wants to, she can teleport to the end of that skill shot, which is really good for her positioning. And right after she does that, she can also entomb herself, which is basically giving her a free Zhonya's as well as damaging everyone else around her. So it's a very, very strong ability. And as we said before, we have Tristana's rocket jump, which is really, really heavy for mobility, especially if she can get the refresh on it, if she can get the killer assist. Then she'll be able to get a refresh and use it once again, and that'll probably end up securing more kills and just keep snowballing her. That's one of the huge things about reset champions that make them so powerful, is that they basically get one kill, and when they do that, they can put out even more damage to get another kill, more damage to get another kill, more damage to get another kill. We see that on champs like Tristana, we see that on stuff like AP Master Yi, or even Katarina, who can really do that, and it's really easy to get them a large amount of kills in a fight. So hopefully we'll be able to see the purple team shut down Tristana before she can get those early couple kills.
Yeah, in all honesty, they do have the brothers, and that AoE ultimate, that extra damage just flying around there is going to help. I mean, granted, they don't have a lot of characters that sit directly in the middle like a lot of AoE comps. Like, we're not going to have Jarvan just diving in. They do have a Mumu as like a really frontline person, but Kayle's range, Vladimir's range, you know, Sona and Twitch are all range. So they're going to have to be more, you know, backline divers. They're not really going to be able to just sit there and take it. But just transitioning on, we do have the summoner blockers down. We are seeing that we are going to have a Nasus in the jungle against a Mumu. Both fairly, you know, slower early jungles with very powerful ganks on both of them. A Mumu, especially when he hits level 6, having enough CC to, you know, really make up for the fact that he can't really gank in the early few levels effectively, other than, you know, a bandage toss and a tantrum. And Nasus having that wither, which is essentially a shutdown. So, you know, you really have to fight now. They did remove that attack speed slow from it, so you do have that fight option, because running isn't always an option when you have the wither on you. And we are going to see Tristana Sona in the Tristana Leona in the bot lane versus Twitch Sona, Kayle versus Lysandra in the mid lane, or possibly Vladimir. And in the top, we're going to see Renekton versus the person on the red team who doesn't go mid.
And one thing about Nasus is that they didn't remove the attack speed slow. They just made it so that they just nerfed it. It's not as much of an attack speed slow, but it's still an attack speed slow. Yeah, I think they just about halved it. So, as you said, fighting is still a possible option, especially if you're more of an AD caster or just a caster in general. But obviously, Wither is something that it's really, really hard to run from that. So we do see Twitch taking cleanse, which is a good idea in this case to cleanse out of Leona's CC, to cleanse out of the Wither, as you said, and they've got a lot of other sort of disabilities as well, a lot of stuns. And on the blue team, the biggest thing I want to point out is the fact that Renekton has teleport. So he's going to be foregoing that aggressive summoner spell or that in-lane usage summoner spell. So he's going to be in order to make up for that, since he can't really secure kills as well as he can if he took Ignite or if he took Exhaust, then he would have to make use and get kills around the outside of the map using teleport by ganking down bot or ganking down mid. So that we'll have to see how he decides to use that, and if he can use it correctly, then it's completely worth the teleport. And you don't really see me talking about that too often, even though I kind of do. But it's something I like to talk about. It's just teleport is that big risk that you have to take.
Yeah, and a risk it is, because worst case scenario, end up teleporting down and giving them a triple kill, which is not what you want to see. But Renekton already beats out Vladimir pretty hard in the early few levels. Vladimir not having a very strong lane. Does have range on Renekton, though, so let's see if he can be able to abuse that. But Renekton, very, very strong bully, and he does have that mobility in the early game with a little bit of sustain in his kit. So we'll see if he can really take advantage of that. Vladimir doesn't really get his sustain until later levels, really when his Q starts hitting a little bit harder, or until he picks up some more spell vamp. He could even have spell vamp quints. That is another thing that Vladimirs do oftentimes, just to give them that little bit of help in the early game, and late game it can actually make a difference. 3%, I think is it 3% spell vamp a quint?
I'm not sure what it is, although one thing I would like to see is I would really like to see Vladimir actually pick up the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. That's been increasing in popularity just a little bit recently because it gives you a lot of great stats. It gives you ability power as well as spell vamp and cooldown reduction, three things that Vladimir really, really likes to have. So even though it's not really something you think of at first being a in-lane item, because it does give you a little bit of extra damage towards minions and monsters, it really helps him out because it gives him those base stats as well, which are really, really huge, and you don't really see that on many other items, especially since Spell Vamp is really just kind of fallen out of favor. It's much less about surviving through a long-term fight as it is in this meta than it is about just surviving the initial burst. And we really see that on the red team. They're going for, Vladimir's ultimate stacked with Amumu's ultimate, stacked with Sona's ultimate, stacked with Twitch's ultimate. They're really aiming to burst people down extremely quickly. Ice Whip almost getting caught out in his own jungle right there, but both teams warding it up. It looks like we're going to see a majorly defensive game in this early jungle take. Oh, I might have spoken too soon. As the blue team, it looks like they might be going all the way around. It looks like they are going to try to pull an invade.
Yeah, an invade would be pretty effective here. Amumu, not really the strongest early game jungler, so shutting him down, especially denying blue buff, would definitely hurt his jungle quite a bit. Whereas Nasus, yeah, he's a slow jungler and he's a weak-ish jungler, and blue buff, would hurt him, but it's not the end of the world. You have your lifesteal, and you're more of an auto attacks based champion. But
so at this point, the blue team is taking a risk. Vladimir's already gone top, so Renekton is going to be at a disadvantage as soon as he gets to the top lane. So in order for this trade to be worth it, blue team really needs to take first blood or take a buff. That's what they need to do. Otherwise, their top lane is going to be fairly far behind Vladimir.
Well,
and it looks like they have scared him out.
They're going to try to force him away from that wolf. Not sure if they're going to be able to, though. Yeah, he's going to get that wolf, but I think blue buff might be going towards the blue team here, unless they choose to contest, which they might. Pings are going down.
But it looks like it was too late, as Nasus has already gotten the blue buff good smite there, so it looks like that is going to be worth it for the blue team. Like I said, Renekton's going to have a little bit of trouble in the early games of the top lane, since Vladimir is going to have his CS and experience advantage above him. But all in all, Nasus is at a huge advantage against Amumu, because Amumu, in order to clear the jungle, he really needs the blue buff in order to spam his spells, and right now he's forced to take his own red, which is something that you don't really want to do on Amumu. You don't want to take red first. He's going to have to go back before he can really make any ganks happen. And Nasus has to watch out a little bit to make sure that he doesn't get invaded himself as a response to taking the blue buff. But it looks like Amumu didn't actually want to do that in the first place, so Nasus is just going to take his own buff and be fine with it. I think he'll probably end up giving that over to Lissandra unless he wants the early game level advantage coming from the buff.
Yeah, that's a very smart play. All too often you see a jungler, you know, kind of just take their do an invade, and then they'll just, you know, the other team will respond by, all right, we'll just invade you, you know. And it was really, really good play of Nasus just to head straight for his buff. But we are going to see just some farming upgoing. Both top laners starting a rejuve bead for a lot of early health sustain. You can't really just buy potions and regen some more, so that's been a popular build ever since Riot made that decision. Mid lane, we just see wards and potions coming out, giving it that kind of area of safety for the first few levels. And in the bot lane, we're going to see Leona putting down a little bit of hurt on Twitch there, and Twitch doing some return onto Tristana. And that's just some massive pain coming up of the rat.
And as I said before, Amumu, his clear is seriously hurting right now. He's already forced to go back before ganking or anything of the sort. Top lane Renekton's getting poked down quite a bit. The level advantage actually hurting him a bit more than I thought it would. But if we return to the jungle to look at Nasus again, he's in control of 3 buffs in this map. Amumu is in control of 1. This is a huge advantage for him, and even though Nasus isn't really the biggest ganker, he doesn't have a lot of gap close, he really needs to look for some action to get his team back in favor.
Tristana taking a lot of damage in the bot lane here. Cleanse goes out by Twitch. That is the first blood. Now they are exhausting Leona, trying to get her too. This is going to be a double kill for SSJ Vegito. Very nice play by Catastrophe, but in the mid lane, Nasus is going on top of Kale, but Amumu is there to respond. I think Nasus is going to be engaged on, taking lots of damage here. There is Lissandra trying to put down the hurt, but Amumu going to be able to flash after that, pick up that kill with the red buff and another auto attack.
As I was just saying before that fight happened, and it really came into play here, Nasus, even though you give the jungler the advantage, he needs to do something with the advantage, and that is exactly not what he's doing. He wasn't ganking around at all, which is what he needed to do. He was just sitting in his own jungle and clearing. He thought, alright, I can hit level 6 a little bit
Murder
faster.
Fox getting in a little bit of trouble, but Kale not having her E! Not going to be able to get that one more auto attack. The creep's doing a very good job of blocking, and I definitely have to say she got super lucky there, and Renekton getting ignited, but I'm not sure if that's going to be enough.
Oh, it looks like one more tick would have killed him. But all in all, it was a good under tower play by him, making sure that he got as much damage on Vlad as possible before he decided to go back. But as I was saying before, Nasus, he needed to make something happen around the map. In doing that invade, his own team was far behind because they took a lot of pressure from their lanes because their lanes got an early game experience advantage. So in order to balance that advantage out, you really need to gank around once you get that early buff. And instead, you know, he decided to stay in his own jungle a little bit too long. He let Amumu basically take a bunch of buffs and get back into it. He needed to pull off some invades, pull off some ganks or something, and instead he got counter-ganked himself and ended up giving away his 2 buffs. So at this point, now the red team is pretty far ahead of the blue team because they did not capitalize on their advantage, which is something you really, really need to do if you're a jungler.
You know what's something you really don't want to see happen? And that's have Twitch get a double kill. Twitch, incredibly strong character, and it looks like they might be going for an engage. Tristana doing a good job poking, but look at that damage just come out from both of them. Sona overextending a little bit though. But yeah, just Twitch is an extremely punishing AD carry. If you play him correctly, he just has massive burst damage. Not the tankiest little rat, but he definitely is the strongest. And we're just seeing him put out a lot of pain now. We might see Nasus intervene right here.
We might. He is looking for a gank. Amumu is around the back. He doesn't actually know about the gank yet, and there we go. There's the pink word. We know about it.
There's Nasus going in on the Sona. Leona going in there and getting that hook, but Amumu was spotted. Now Nasus going to save that Twitch with Twitch. So much burst damage. The Expunge getting the kill, and he's going to have a double kill, hitting level 6. Able to use that spray and pray to extend his range. pick up that kill.
A lot of that fight was just basically tunnel visioning. We said, alright, we have Sona here, she's squishy, let's go ahead and kill her. But Tristana the entire time was being chased out by Twitch, who, as you said, does a lot of early game damage as it is, and those two kills he got at the very beginning of the game really helped him out. He got a BF sword, which is very, very huge item for him. He's way far ahead of Tristana, and we can really see that right now as well. He's 4-0, taking kills all around the map. Nasus really didn't have enough pressure, and in the fact that the bottom lane, they didn't really win that level 2 engage that Tristana and Leona have. That's really where they were ahead of the red team in the bottom lane in terms of their team comps, because level 2 Leona Trist engage is one of the hardest engages ever. It pokes down, it bursts down, it really puts your team in an advantage, but unfortunately they weren't able to actually make that happen, and after that, Sona and Twitch were able to just heal it back up because Sona is a sustained support, and once they hit level 6, they're going to be extremely far ahead. So unfortunately the bot lane for the blue team not making it work early enough.
Ooh, and it looks like mid lane we're going to see a little bit of a fight here. Murder Fox taking a lot of damage, going to be able to get away. Lissandra has a pretty nice built-in escape though. It's really sad when you use it and you see you're silenced, but that's not the case this time. And we are going to see Twitch building towards that eye edge. Very, very smart choice. You know, there's nothing quite like critting on all 5 members of the enemy team at the same time.
Yeah, that is a huge item for Twitch. His ultimate, just passing through multiple members of the team at a time. It's really, really good ability for team fights as well. And he really has a comp that permits that team fight. We have Amumu to lock them all down, Amumu or Sona, or Amumu and Sona to lock them all down, as well as Vladimir's ultimate to amplify the damage he does on that, and as you said, he's got an Infinity Edge, so he's going to just put out so much damage. Imagine a crit as well as the buff from Vladimir's ultimate on a team that can't move. That is huge for his team, and he's already 4-0. It's going to be very, very hard to stop this, and I'm actually a little bit surprised to see the fact that blue team hasn't done more to shut him down. We've only seen one gank in the bottom lane, and it has been counter-ganked. We needed more pressure from Nasus, and even maybe Lissandra could have come down bot, but at this point, it might be a little bit too late. Twitch is already so fed. If you try to dive him, he's just going to be able to turn around and kill you, and it looks like they might be going for an engage in the bot lane.
Yeah, we do have that slow getting on Tristana. A whiff Sona ult though, but now they are putting down damage on Leona, who is a little bit tankier because of that W. Not sure if he's going to get it. No, he's not going to be able to, but here comes Nasus for the counterattack. Ghost has been popped, and they are continuing to chase Wither going down on Twitch. He is invisible though, but unfortunately Tristana, yeah, not going to be able to reveal Twitch in time. Not sure why they're turning around, but here comes a dive on Renekton in the top lane as well. Vladimir ult going down, gonna be chasing him. One more transfusion will pick up the kill. And Tristana doing not the smartest idea, flashing away from Twitch. That is gonna be another double kill for Twitch. He is gonna be shut down, but still, that's a big chunk of gold still going into his pocket. So alternatively, that still wasn't, you know, an even trade unless you count the Renekton in the top lane, which, you know, actually was on Twitch's team anyway. So.
Yeah, in the bottom lane, that was really not a great idea on the red team to dive that tower. Even though they got the shutdown bonus, they gave Twitch 2 more kills and he's already ahead. He'll be able to use more of that gold than Nasus will be able to use that 500 gold shutdown bonus. It just wasn't a great idea. Now Twitch is even farther ahead. He's almost gotten his Infinity Edge. He's just...
in the top lane here, Vladimir is being chased down by Nasus and Renekton. There was the Wither going down on top of her. Mid lane, Murder Fox taking a lot of damage as well. Going to be picked up back to the top lane here. We do have Renekton and Vladimir, or Renekton and Nasus still chasing that Vladimir. And I'm not sure if he's going to be able to get away from here. Pulling under the tower. And oh, he's going to be able to burst down the Nasus. He's not going to be able to get Renekton though. But they just chased too far, and Vladimir doing a great job at kiting around that tower.
Yeah, at this point, I think the blue team is getting a little bit too desperate to secure some of these kills. If you're this far behind, you want to make action happen all around the map. You want to take risks, but right now they're not taking very good risks. They're trying too hard to get the advantage back into their favor. They need to capitalize on a mistake. They need to be roaming around as a team, and what they're doing, you know, they dove Vlad top lane, but they didn't expect Vlad to have the pool. He didn't expect him to lifesteal all that much, and they're really that far ahead so that they'll be able to. And Vlad has the Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. Like I said, he would build ability power, cooldown reduction, and spell vamp. Really, really good item on him. And even though the mana regen is a little bit wasted on Vlad, the rest of the stats easily balance that out, considering how cheap it is. I think it's only about 2,600, 2,000 something gold in order to buy it. So it's a very, very nice early game item that gives you a lot of needed spells or abilities.
Yeah, all the jungler items got massively reduced in price, which is why we see everyone buying them now. I mean, you know, even on laners, you just see a lot of laners picking them up, and we're going to see a dive in the mid lane here. Murder Fox might be in a little bit of trouble. Kayla ulting herself to dive that tower, and here comes a Moo jumping in with the final bit of CC. Going to be able to pick her up as a kill, and Nas is just hovering around the bot lane, expecting, looks like the red team to dive.
Yeah, in the mid lane, I really love the team communication there. Kale basically saying, alright, go in for it, I'll tank the tower, uses her ultimate, and
There's
in the bot lane we have an engage.
In the bot lane, Sona all going down, Tristana using that cleanse, Twitch as well, going to be able to get out with her going down on Twitch, so he is slowed, but he is also invisible. Twitch going in on Tristana, putting down a lot of burst damage, going to be able to pick him up, and now Sona running away. Here comes Vladimir, but now both the brothers are here. Can they make something happen? Vladimir ult does go down. Here comes Kale, though, healing the Vladimir, giving him a little bit of speed, and they are now diving onto Seawolf, forced to blow his flash. Hexstringer is popped, and they are going to be disengaged. Do not want to make that same tower mistake the blue team did, but very, very nice commanding fight there. Just all red team members roaming down and showing up at just the right times.
Yeah, and once again, the blue team is still trying a little bit too hard to get this game back in their favor. They expended so much to kill Twitch, and it wasn't really the best initiation in the first place. They easily got counter-ulted by Sona, whose crescendo really turned that fight pretty well, and even though they killed Twitch, they lost a team fight, they lost the dragon, which is something that you never want to see.
Amumu going a little bit too far. Amumu ult, though, doing a pretty good amount of damage. Lysandra not even going to have the time to hop away. And Amumu continuing to go in, along with Vladimir, has so much burst damage. Tristana being taken down to almost no health. There is the pull by Vladimir, but now Amumu in a bad position, getting caught out by Nasus, the two brothers closing down on this poor mummy. But a nice bandage toss, going to be able to get him out of the fight. Leona ult goes in though, stops Kale, trying to prevent them to run away. Nasus is still here. Can they pick up a kill here? Looks like Vladimir might go down here. Yes, he will, but he will be the only one. Actually, Seawolf getting picked up by Vegito, coming in last minute. Very, very nice fight. Amumu doing a lot to survive in that fight.
Yeah, and Twitch is going to keep trying on for the Leona.
It's just going to instantly pick him up. Very, very nice bandage toss, keeping Twitch safe. Looks like Twitch trying to stay alive, slowing Nasus, barely trying to kite, using Magic Sponge, and one more auto attack. That was beautiful AD carry play. Attack moving just at the right time. And yeah, that was good. And they're going to get a tower out of this.
They are going to get a tower out of this as well. It was a very extended team fight, but it ended up working out in the red team's favor. They got the drag. They lost one person in that fight, and then they were able to turn it around, get Twitch a triple kill. He's 11-2, already has an Infinity Edge, and right now he's got a lot of gold on top of that, getting a Zeal and a Cloak of Agility. He's more than halfway towards his Phantom Dancer, giving him even more crit chance. He's going to be a huge, huge force in this fight, and at this point I don't really think there's a very good way for the blue team to come back into this. Each and every one of them are so far behind, and each and every one of the blue team is so far ahead. Vladimir sitting at 3-2. I think he might actually be the least farthest ahead, although at the same time he's got a Haunting Guise as well as Spirit of the Spectral Wraith. He's not really hurting in terms of damage, and he's really going to be able to shut down a lot of members of the blue team, and the only one who's, you know, you can't really build too well against the red team. You can build armor, which actually no one's doing. I don't really see any armor for the blue team, which is a huge mistake because Twitch is doing so much damage.
Yeah, Twitch is not someone you want with that many kills, but it looks like in the top lane Vladimir getting dove on, but he just has so much damage that Vladimir all picking up Renekton. Now the other brother is left to fight. He does have the blue buff, but I think he actually might get picked up himself. Just one more spell, trying to auto attack, and I think he transfused last minute there. He didn't quite see the animation go off, so it might have not completed, but still went through. So Now Vladimir has the blue buff. I mean, he doesn't have any mana, but that is going to allow him to spam his spells quite frequently. And as I was saying, Lissandra coming in, getting the CC down, entombing Twitch, knowing who the dangerous one is, but Sona very, very nice ult. Actually, Twitch going to be able to pick up a kill, and it looks like Sona now in trouble, getting that divine intervention. Now Kale going in onto Tristana. Tristana doing a little disengage here, but Sona could be in trouble now. Actually, gonna take down Tristana first, and very, very nice job by Mumu. We're seeing some very, very good roaming by the red team, and a lot of good teamwork.
Very, very good roaming. They're basically everywhere. As soon as the blue team thinks they can initiate a fight, it just gets turned around, and all of these trades really aren't worth it for them. You know, they kill Twitch, which is one of their big goals, but in order to do it, they are sacrificing 3 members of their team at a time, 2 or 3 members, and it's really just not in favor of them either. And one big mistake I think that I'm seeing from the blue team is the fact that they're kind of relying on Aegis of the Legion to get all of their armor. Leona's building towards it right now. She's gotten an Emblem of Valor, so she's going towards the Aegis of the Legion. However, it's not going to give nearly enough armor for the rest of their team to survive Twitch's power. And that's a really big mistake they're doing. I think they're just sort of going for their core builds, and they're not building towards the game that they're playing. And at this point, I can't really call a way for them to get back into it. It's going to have to be the red team very badly screwing up in order for the blue team to get back into this.
Well, this time it looks like they are sending 3 people up top to deal with Vladimir. He does have the blue buff, taking a lot of damage here. Looks like he is going to pull under, come back up. Will he be able to get anyone? Yes, picking up the first brother, but unfortunately that is going to be all. Amumu trying to come into this fight here. Kale is also there. Renekton being taken down really, really low. And he is going to be running away right here. Does have that blue buff, so he is going to have cooldown reduction, but a flash ultimate barely clipping him at the end of that. Very, very nice ultimate, actually.
I don't think the flash ultimate was really needed from Amumu. Kale was on her way up behind Renekton. There was really no way he was going to get out. But at this point, you know, they're so far ahead, they can kind of blow some of these really big cooldowns, and they'll still be ahead in the fights. Everyone for the blue team just gets bursted down so quickly. There's no tankiness on their side, apart from Nasus, whose only tanky item is really the Spirit of the Ancient Golem. He's gotten a Kindle Gem, so he's going to turn that into something. But he's only got about 700 bonus health from his items. Not really enough to tank through a lot of this damage, especially when Twitch has an Infinity Edge.
So one big mistake I'd like to note in this game. Well, we've already talked plenty about Twitch being fed and that being, you know, a really big downfall. But Nasus's Wither doesn't have the attack speed as much attack speed reduction, so Twitch really not hurt by it as much. And actually, speaking of Nasus, we're going to see him try to make something happen here, withering Sona, but they're choosing not to go in even 3v2 right now. Twitch is just too strong. But here comes Kale. Twitch going in the middle of the fight. Very nice Sona ult. Looks like Twitch going to be bursting so many people along with Kale. That's spray and pray along with Kale's AoE auto attacks, along with her E proc. Righteous Fury gonna be very, very mean to the blue team, and they might even get a second tower here. Vladimir's just been split pushing top. Renekton needs to stay there, or he'll get a tower, and it looks like Amumu might just go down the middle. Actually, pings go down at Dragon.
They do, although Dragon is not really a very big objective at this point. Not too sure why they're pinging it. I guess they're just sending Twitch back to solo it. They can do that and keep all the other lanes pushed as well, and it'll be completely fine for them. So, Twitch doesn't really have lifesteal at the moment, but he does have Sona.
Up in the top here, we are going to see an engagement. Vladimir diving the tower. Again, at this point, it's no effort.
Wow, it's really, really hard for the blue team to get back into this. There's not really much they can do. Like I said, it's going to rely on the red team to throw it at this point, which I really don't think they're going to end up doing. Only 2 members of their team really have deaths, and that's because they've been getting focused the entire time. People like Kale is one of the underlying people who have been under the radar, but been doing a lot of damage and helping out her team quite a bit. Lichbane really helps her out with some of that burst damage, because if you go for a Lichbane, Lichbane AP sort of Kale, you're looking more towards the burst rather than the sustained fight, whereas AD Kale gets a lot of power off of her E. Lichbane, as well as ability power, gives her a lot of power on her Q and a lot of burst damage on the rest of her auto attacks after she uses an ability. So even though she's not the spammiest champion, she can still make pretty good use of the Lichbane in terms of burst damage. So that's that's sort of where the red team is going with their build. They're all trying to go for the massive burst damage as much as they can, and it's working out.
AP and Mumu.
And yes, an AP and Mumu as well, speaking of burst damage. And right there we see an amazing ult.
Oh, very, very nice one-mo combo there. The AP and Mumu along with that spray and pray doing so much damage right there. Quadra kill coming out almost instantly by Twitch. Amumu getting taken down, ruining his perfect score. But unfortunately, that's a quadra kill for Twitch. I was picked up almost instantaneously. At this point, I'm not sure what the blue team, as we've said, can do. This might be the final push.
Yeah, like I said, the red team, they're just building for burst. They can do that. They're building right for the 3-second fight, and that was really what that was. We had an Amumu ultimate followed up with a Sona Crescendo, followed up with spray and pray, and it really just set the rest of the fight in motion for them. And it's really a shame for the blue team to get faced up against a team that is this powerful, and it looks like we have another engagement.
Yeah, we do. Vladimir going in the middle. It's causing so much damage, and it looks like Sona trying to get taken down. No, Sona, run. You have 21 assists and everything to lose. Kale trying to protect her the best he can. Kale putting down a lot of damage on this Renekton, and actually going to be picking up a triple kill there. The blue buff giving her lots of CDR, and Sona remains that 0-0-22. Very, very nice job there.
I think it's one of those perfect support games. She's been landing so many amazing crescendos, no deaths,
Oh,
no
Vladimir,
kills,
what are you
22
doing?
assists. And Vlad's just, you know, diving the fountain. Why not at this point? They've gotten the Nexus. Twitch is split pushing top. I guess he's just padding his CS score.
Oh, poor Sona. Run, Sona, but it looks like Kale just too strong at the moment. 3 members of the blue team. No, Sona might get taken down, flashing away. Oh, I want to see her live. No, here comes Nasus, popping that ghost. Sona's going to be in trouble here. Mumu's still pretty far away. Sona trying to heal herself, but then she will get taken down. Oh, I know it doesn't really matter, but it hurts. It hurts, man.
It hurts to see that 0-1 and 23 Sona at this point. Although she has gone back getting a Mikhail's Crucible, so she's doing all she can to keep Twitch alive and keep him putting out damage. And the Mikhail's really helping out with that, basically acting as a QSS she can use on a different person, and it gives them a slight heal. Very, very fast team fight. A lot of people getting bursted down right in front of the Nexus. And this game is going to be ended very soon. And there you go. There's the GG. Kale picking up quite a few kills near the end. But that is a very, very convincing game for the red team.
Yeah, WHLSeaworld taking down, Catastrophe taking down WHLSeaworld. Sorry, my bad. And it's, that was an interesting game. It was very one-sided after just feeding Twitch so much. It's just the opposite of what you want to see in really any game of League. Twitch probably,
the turning points in that game there were basically two. There was the fact that the bottom lane for the blue team sort of failed that level 2 initiation that they really needed to get them ahead of Twitch. And since they failed that, then they couldn't really do too much for the rest of the game. As we said, Sona has a heal, so it's going to be hard to poke Twitch down and then engage. So they were really banking a lot on that level 2 engagement, and since they couldn't get it, Twitch was able to farm up, he was able to get to level 6, and once he did that, he just snowballed extremely hard. The other turning point was sort of the fact that Nasus didn't make anything out of his early invade. He invaded, got the enemy blue buff, that was well and good. The blue team was pretty far ahead in that respect, but his lanes were behind because they were behind in experience, and since Nasus wasn't able to gank around, he wasn't able to do anything with his advantage to help out the rest of his team, it really just allowed the purple team to get back into it after that level 1 engagement.